Hello guys. So this video is about my experiences and opinion about the master's program in Europe during the pandemic. First up, who am I? I am a grad student in robotics studying in Europe. My first year is in University of Trento, which is in Italy, and my second year is in TU Berlin, which is in Germany. I'm halfway through my master's and I'll be completing 1 year in a couple of months. Let's move straight to the question. Is a master's in a technical field worth it during COVID? Unfortunately, the answer is both yes and no. So we'll look at three kinds of goals when it comes to pursuing a master's. The first one is when you're in it for a job. I would personally not be very positive about a master's abroad if all you want is a job in this region. That is mainly because the market scenario is not really good right now. I mean, we don't know what happens in a couple of months, but talking about what the situation is right now, maybe it's a good idea to wait for a bit. Second, if you want to learn more about your specific subdomain and if you want to network around these domains with people to see what works the best in other regions, which would eventually lead to multiple opportunities irrespective of which place you'd end up in, I would still say it's a good idea to do it. I understand all the problems with the pandemic and we will discuss about them in detail. Having said that, this is kind of a different trajectory because you're not focusing a lot on grades and the courses you're doing, but more on the opportunities you can get because of your location and people you're surrounded with. Let me talk about my own story in the last couple of months. Ever since I've come to Italy, I've been frankly focusing less on courses and grades and more on the kind of things I want to do, different subdomains I want to explore, different people I want to meet. And I ended up putting in a lot of efforts and time on things which do not give me any grades. For example, I skipped a couple of classes to network with people in Germany while I was in Italy. Of course, it's harder because of the pandemic, but the flip side is everything is online. So it's easier to connect to people online now because the bar has lowered when it comes to online communication. And even otherwise, I was working for a lab which did not pay me, but I never asked for money. And that helped me learn things which a standard course usually does not teach. The third one is when you just want to get out of the country. I would not really recommend it right now because it's your personal choice if you find that reason compelling enough. This is not the right time to do it because you won't be able to explore the place as much, meet many new people. And maybe you should wait a little bit and come back on it later. Now let's move to the academic experience. In my university, which is in Italy, classes have been both online and offline. But the thing is, when it comes to socialization, we've been pretty much doomed from the start. I kind of got lucky because I live in a region where there are many people, both Italians and international people. They're really great and I've made really great friends and connections. I was able to explore different cultures, from food to the way they live. And also all my friends here are non-Indians and I come from India. So of course it's still possible if you're outgoing enough and you talk to enough people. The pandemic doesn't really stop you after a point. But of course it's hard. Another great aspect of online classes which I did not anticipate before was that I was able to skip classes and have recordings later to focus on things that matter a little more to me. I just hope my exams go well, of course, but that wasn't my primary focus anyway. So that's another great aspect. Let's move to the job market now. The job market is not so great. It's harder to find jobs. It's harder to get responses from companies. Even for me, I've decided to take a gap year after studying for 1 year because of the pandemic. My first year was online and it kind of worked in my favor. But for the second year, most of my courses are supposed to be practical R&D and in person. If they move to online, which is the case right now, I don't think I'll be able to make the best use of them. So I decided to take a gap year. Luckily, I got an opportunity because I was working in a lab with no pay and they offered me a full-time job as soon as they realized that I have to take a gap year. Unluckily, the visa situation is not so straightforward because of COVID and I might not get a visa after all. So the situation is kind of hard and evolving. Even I am not very sure about what's going to happen. The only thing is I want to give you guys a fair view of what's happening right now and I just hope it helps you. Talking about the mode of working, at this moment, countries like Italy are moving very fast towards offline mode of work again. But when it comes to countries like Germany, they are still heavily dependent on online methods of work. So if you have your internships here, with the current scenario, you might end up working remotely. The good thing about that could be you work with a lot of convenience. But for me, networking, going with people is kind of very important professionally and personally. So I don't think that's a very good idea right now. Overall, for me, it has been a good experience, mainly because I was trying to do things which are not given in the courses, and that worked in my favor so far. One other good thing about studying in Europe is that even though you focus a lot on online methodologies right now, once you're in Europe, it's easier to contact other companies and they are more open to you working for them. But man, the visa situation is a mess right now for people who want to work full time. For people who are students or who want to enroll as students, it's still pretty easy, so it shouldn't be a problem at all. Europe also offers the flexibility to extend your masters if you want. So in case things go south, you can extend your masters. Of course, I understand that the situation is evolving pretty fast, and maybe in a couple of months we'll all be okay and things will probably go back to normal, at least to a large extent. But I hope this gives you the current perspective of how things are, and hopefully you'll be able to make a better decision. If not, you can just comment, you can just contact me, and then we can talk more about it. And if at any point I can give you a better perspective to what's happening here, I'd love to do that. Thank you.